welcome to Tuesday Night Live with Kim. I am excited for tonight. I hope everybody else is ready. So, tonight I have Chris Heffernan on, the CEO of Dlivrd. He'll be on in just a couple of minutes. But before I even bring him on, I personally have been doing Dlivrd for a year and a half, maybe 2 years, somewhere around there at this point. And I've done multiple videos and I know I have my own questions. Hopefully, you guys are going to bring some really good questions too. We will try to answer as many questions as we possibly can tonight, along with the questions that I personally have. But, before I even get started, so I put out a community poll this week, and this actually, sorry. Where did it go? There it is. Put it back up. Okay, so are you a fan of Dlivrd app? So 22% said yes, 28% said no, and this is what boggled my brain, is 49% said, what's Dlivrd? And I know I've been doing content for a while on Dlivrd. I know there's other content creators who have been talking about Dlivrd, but 49% out of 169 votes says, what is Dlivrd? So, with that being said, I feel like tonight we are going to get all acquainted with what Dlivrd is. So we're going to go through how did Dlivrd get started. We're going to go to where Dlivrd is today, and then hopefully we'll get into and we'll pick Chris's brain a little bit for the future of Dlivrd. So before I even get started, hello to everybody in the chat. I really appreciate you guys being here tonight. So hey, Becky, Thomas, Brian, DM Bia, Tommy, what's going on? Flight the Serpent, Lee, what's going on? Giggle Eyes, what's up? Bubba Sue, how are you? And Caleb. So I am ready. Hopefully Chris is ready. And how are you, Chris?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. Here, we're going to do that. That one's a little bit better. Is that way you can see the Dlivrd symbol?
Yeah.
So I was watching a video today, and it was a really cool video you did. It was only like 3 minutes long, and it was how Dlivrd really got started. And it started with a cheesesteak.
Yeah. That's kind of like the catchphrase. It all started with cheesesteak. So it's down in Delray Beach, Florida, and I'm from the Philly area, and I saw a cheesesteak place down there. And we're very particular about our cheesesteaks here. So if you see like a Philly sandwich or it's got green peppers on it, not a cheesesteak. Cheese, meat, maybe onion, right? And the roll is really important. And this cheesesteak place did it right. And this is before DoorDash or Uber Eats or any of that. And I asked the guy, like, how's this work? And he told me about a delivery service on the Strip. So that's when I started my first delivery company, Food Cab. People ordered on my app or my website. And I was the first driver, and we delivered it. Fast forward a few years, doing deliveries for Boston Market. And the manager at the one location was like, hey, this is really cool that you're bringing me these $20 lunchtime orders, but I need help getting these catering orders to pharmaceutical reps. And I was like, well, I can do that. So then we started doing catering orders for Boston Market in Philadelphia. Then we added some more restaurants. Then we partnered with Easy Cater, and then we added new cities. And then it really just kind of took off from there. But yeah, it basically all started with that cheesesteak.
That's actually really awesome. Yeah. So what is the one thing, I feel like, because people are like, what's Dlivrd? What is like the one thing like you want drivers to know about Dlivrd?
The one thing I want drivers to know about Dlivrd is, we're rooted in doing things the right way. So we show where you're picking up from, where you're delivering from, how much you're earning all up front. Like I said, like when I first started doing that delivery business, I was driving around. I delivered until 2021 commonly, right? Like I was in my Toyota Camry doing deliveries. Our first like account rep for clients, the first driver on the platform. Sam, who runs our operations team and does all the QA to make sure everything's going smooth, was a driver on the team. So like everything is kind of rooted to make sure that it's a driver first mentality.
That's actually really that's one of the reasons why I actually love doing it. And I'm always honest. So Delivery just came to my market maybe 2 years ago, so it was new when I first started. So it started off on the slow side, and then I feel like even within, like, the year and a half, 2 years I've been on, like, I've seen the evolution of Delivered, which I actually think is awesome. So, as far as expanding, and I know that's, like, one of the things that a whole company wishes for. So how long did it take you to, like, from startup to where we are right now? Like, what was, like, the process of expanding?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So Delivered got its like footing in 2018. By 2020, we were in 20 markets across the U.S. Then obviously in 2020, business catering really didn't have much of a need as everything kind of shut down. So we did a quick ramp to get more business, and we opened up in 40 markets. So by 2021, we were in 40 markets. And then now, it's 2024, we're in 162 markets across the US and Canada. So we go wherever our integration partners say they have needs. So if companies like Easy Cater and Olo or Toast or, whoever else says we have demand from clients in these zip codes, cool. We'll start adding those zip codes or adding those metros. So
That's good. So I get a lot of questions regarding EasyCater. I feel like I even knew EasyCater before I started working with Deliverd because of DoorDash back in the day when they were really strong. So, how is I'm going to say how is EasyCater to work for? Because I've had really good experiences and I've had some bad experiences. Like, how as a company do you determine, I guess, the orders that come into drivers?
yeah, so that's all up to them how they determine the orders that come out. So the orders just come in. We have it's called an API, and it's what connects our two organizations. So they send orders to us, and then we match those orders to the drivers. How much they send, how many they send, where they send them from, we have zero control over. We just say, hey, we're available here. The same way we do it with Olo or brands directly, then they just give us what orders they have. We're seeing a lot more orders in general, just because as return to work becomes more of a thing. It's more of an expectation now than it was before for workplaces to provide lunch for their employees. So where before a building would order maybe once a month or once a week, they're ordering 3 to 5 times a week. And that's where we're seeing a lot of the growth is from these businesses basically feeding the workers as a way to get them back in the office and away from working remote or working hybrid.
That's actually really awesome. And speaking of that, like you were talking about like repeat customers and coming back. I know me and my market, I have a company who orders 3 times a week. So I might actually get the same customer once, even like twice, sometimes 3 times a week, but they know me by now. And it's a really good, I think, a working partnership between the driver and the restaurant. And I'm assuming Delivered as well. One of the questions I actually got today from one of my subscribers asked, is there a way that the restaurants or even the company themselves to request drivers back if they provide really good customer service? Is that like a thing?
That is a thing. Yeah. So it has to come from like the restaurant location or from that integration partner. We can't just take like the driver's word for it. Like they really liked me. As long as a driver has delivered to an area. So for like you, Kim, if you picked up from, a Chick-fil-A and they really liked you and they give the feedback and we get it, we can mark you preferred. We give the order ID that you last delivered and say pickup. And then when the system goes to assign orders, it's going to consider you first when assigning those orders. Now, if you decline it or don't answer, it's going to move on to the next driver. And then the same for the customer. If we hear from the customer or from the integration partner that they really loved Kim's service and they would love to see her more, then, we can mark you as preferred in that system for that delivery address. And when that order comes in, it can send it over there. And we do have quite a few partners that do share that feedback. And then we also have the inverse of that, where if it's a not so great interaction with a driver, we can just prevent them from going to that restaurant or going, to that delivery location. If maybe there was a personality clash, something that's not bad enough to be like, you shouldn't be on the platform, but we just don't want to have a problem later. It's just easier to just keep everybody apart.
Absolutely. So if a customer actually that I'm dropping off to like says, "Oh my god, I love you as a driver. How do I get you back again?" Like, what should I actually tell them? Should I tell them to go onto their app and they can rate us? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, in there, they always get feedback from wherever they order from. They could leave it right in there. In the Dlivrd app, you can see at the bottom of the delivery details, like what the source is. So if it says Easy Cater, if it says Foodie, if it says Olo, if it says the restaurant brand directly, you could say, oh, let Taco Deli know you'd love to see me again as your driver. Let Foodie know you'd love to see me again as your driver. That's the place that the customer ordered from. And then if they tell them, they'll tell us, and we'll make it. At the end of the day, it only benefits us if that customer has a good experience again, because then they're going to reorder, and then we're going to get a delivery, and then it's just a cycle there. So there's nothing that would prevent us from wanting to do that for the drivers and for the customer.
That's awesome. So, sorry, we already have a question. So, ask Chris if the merchant has to contact Dlivrd or Easy Cater to request a preferred driver, or can it be done either way?
Yeah, the customer would have to let whoever they ordered through. Like those customers, whether it's an Easy Cater, a Foodie, a brand, like things like back to that Boston Market Day. Some of these customers don't know what Dlivrd is, right? You'd say, call Dlivrd, and they'd be like, what's that? Like, I ordered from XYZ. So it's always best to point them back to wherever they ordered from. And you can just say, hey, wherever you ordered from, let them know you'd love to see me again.
Yeah. So, Emerald, let's talk about Emerald, because I feel like I get so many questions every time I put out a Dlivrd. And first of all, I am not an Emerald driver. Do I want to be an Emerald driver? Absolutely. It's one of my goals working the Dlivrd platform, just like every other driver. Have to earn it, just like every other driver. So I want to get it from like the horse's mouth. Like, how do you become, I know it, but how do you become an Emerald driver? Because I feel like that's a lot of times where people are striving to become.
Take orders. Just take orders. The Emerald drivers are the top 10% of a market. So if a market in a quarter does 10,000 orders, you have to do 1,000 of them. If a market does 20,000 orders, you have to do 2,000 of them in that quarter. So take orders, be professional, be on time. We track on-time metrics to the pickup. We track those complaints from the caterers or from the clients if there are like attitude issues. We track when a driver bails on an order, too close to the pickup time. So too many of those tickets you could do the 1,000 orders, but have a lot of, tickets, and that would prevent you from being it. So take orders, be on time, be pleasant, and don't, only accept what you can deliver are probably the most basic ways to get it. Emerald Elite will always be Emerald Elite, the top 10%. We will be announcing some other tiers of Emerald that'll have some different benefits. But the Emerald Elite is really the place to be. And it always changes. Just because someone has it one quarter, if they stop taking orders or they start getting complaints, they won't have it next quarter. So it's an ever evolving kind of monster of a reporting situation, but it's worth the fruit of the labor.
So you're not Emerald for life. I'm just kidding. I know you're not Emerald for life.
It's not like the Boy Scouts or Marines where you're one forever. No, you gotta keep earning it to keep getting early access to orders. Emerald drivers get early access, like they're testing our new driver app. Emerald drivers, they get some of those better orders offered first. So Emerald's where to be.
Okay, so I think you just answered this, but I'll put this up anyway. What's the future of Emerald? I think you kind of just answered that by the tier system, but
Yep. The goal is to give people a little taste of like what it is to kind of be at that tier and have it. So the 3 tiers, we're working on some cool swag and stuff like that. Like, really want to take care of the drivers that take care of us is really the idea behind the Emerald program. So, putting some more energy into it. You'll see a lot more marketing around it. You'll see a lot more cool stuff around it, rounding out the end of the year and going into 2025.
So I guess my next question is, because I'm thinking of even my own market, can you become Emerald in a smaller market? Like right now, I'm seeing 3, 4, sometimes 5 offers a week. Like, can you still become an Emerald driver even if the order volume is low.
Yeah, and that's why we went with the 10% rule instead of setting an arbitrary number of saying like you need to take 1,000 orders, right? Because for somebody in Biloxi, Louisiana versus Manhattan, it's going to take a lot longer. So that's why it's a percentage based scale. So yeah, we have Emerald drivers in markets that are small. There's some markets that get like an offer a week, 2 offers a week, like very small towns. But if that driver takes, the top 10% of that, then they're in the club.
Very cool. Like, very cool. I'm telling you, that's something I know a lot of drivers. I feel like everybody wants to be Emerald, and I feel like they want it just to be like easy. Like, I'm just going to become Emerald because I take orders. And I feel like that's not the case. Like, I feel like it's something that you have to work towards because it is the top 10% of the drivers in your area.
Anything worth having isn't easy.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Okay, so oversaturation, and I know this is something you guys probably deal with. As drivers, we see it all the time. I'm not going to use the dreaded DoorDash word, but I just used it. But, we see it in food delivery all the time. We see it on a lot of these other apps, even other catering apps. We see oversaturation. So, how do you combat oversaturation in your app altogether? Is that why there is wait lists and I get people commenting all the time, I'm on a wait list?
100%. We actually have more drivers on our wait list than active on the platform. Maybe
Wow.
I don't know exact numbers, but probably 1.5 times the amount of drivers on the wait list versus active on the platform. And there are some markets that are open, like some of those smaller markets where people churn because there's less order volume, or places that a new client moved into, or like we're expecting like more volume in. But yeah, what really got me when we rolled out the wait list, it was when Lyft was becoming like a big player and really trying to take market share from Uber. And drivers that were doing Lyft were complaining about how much they used to make and how many jobs they used to get. And then once they started hiring a bunch of drivers for Lyft to take market share from Uber, that they saw less money. And then they ended up leaving the Lyft platform altogether. So to try and like prevent churn, we came up with the idea, for the wait list. So it's a question we get a lot. Like, how do I get off it? How do I move through it? There's really nothing to like, it's first come, you get on the list. And then as we open up, if we're like, hey, we're going to recruit for 20 more drivers in Phoenix, Arizona, let's open up the list to 100 people. And that'll give us what we need to get through like drivers that make it through 10 deliveries. We probably end up with like 20. So,
Wow.
we do those kinds of things. And there's little things like in Denver, Colorado, we might need drivers in Boulder. So we'll send a survey to drivers on the Denver wait list and be like, would you deliver in Boulder? And if you say yes, we set your profile up to take Boulder opportunities. And then when the wait list opens, then you just automatically fall off just the Boulder requirement and you can take like the whole market. So that's just one example, but there's others in like Texas and Florida where these like little areas off, we can pull some people off the wait list if they're willing to deliver on, something a little further north or south or east or west.
That's very cool. Okay, so I was going to get to this, Thomas, but you're going to beat me to the punch on this one. The portal is such an excellent tool. How does Dlivrd plan to push it out more?
No, that's a perfect question, Thomas. And I effing love the driver portal. Like we built some really cool stuff in there that has been on like in my brain forever. And I'm so excited for it to like actually be in the world and come to fruition between the open order board. You can draw a map on where you want to deliver orders. So like live location doesn't matter anymore. If you're busy Wednesday morning and you don't want to keep declining orders, or you get stressed out because you feel like that's affecting your status, which it's not, but maybe you feel that way, you can set availability in there. So, but long answer to the question, we are building the new driver portal into the new version of the Dlivrd app. So it will be right there at your fingertips where you can access the driver portal, do everything that you can do on the web page right in the new driver app.
That's actually so. I've been preaching ever since I talked to you a couple weeks ago. And I think you said, and this like blew my mind when you said this, only, what is it, 80? You're going to correct me if I'm wrong. 80 or 90% of drivers didn't even set up their portal yet.
Yeah, and the number's been a little bit better with some marketing that we've done, but it's still really, really high. And I get it. I get why it's not in the app. It's a separate thing. The amount of drivers that haven't logged into the open order board before, again, you have a username for the driver app and you have a username for this portal. Like it's confusing, but we want it to speed some features up because building apps takes a lot of time. So we didn't want to make everybody wait for the driver portal as long as we would to get the apps out. So I'm hoping that adoption becomes a lot higher as it's right there in their hands.
Yeah, when I did my own driver portal, it was like a night and day difference in my experience working the Delivered app. And I did this a while ago, I think, when it almost for you guys announced about the driver portal. Like I was seeing in my area, like, and actually you might it's but on the Jersey Shore area, like I was seeing it like south, like Jersey Shore area during like a summertime, and like with traffic, I don't know how I'm gonna get there. And I'm like, I would love to take some of these orders. I would love to help out deliver it. I said, but I don't know how with traffic I would actually be able to physically do it. And then I did the portal and I'm like, oh my God, this is fantastic. Like I didn't see those orders anymore. And I actually found myself declining less because I didn't want to do those orders because I didn't know how to get there, and more accepting more because they're now within the areas and parameters I'm willing to pick up from. So for me, it was like a game changer with working the Delivered app.
Yeah, no, and it's phenomenal. And that's the exact purpose of it, to target orders that you would be interested in. And you can even set like, you know what, I'll deliver here, but if there's an order that pays more than 50 bucks or 60 bucks or 70 bucks, I'll leave this area. And you
Yeah.
can set that dollar amount as well in there. And declining orders is 100% fine, right? If you can't take it, decline it. That doesn't There's no rating on declining orders, right? So that's totally fine. But we don't want to waste our time and your time looking at orders that you wouldn't take because they're so far south. And when it's not the summertime, you can go back into that portal. And if you will drive down there because the shore traffic isn't crazy anymore, you can adjust your map and click
Yeah.
save. And for the next day's assignments, it's updated now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like during the summertime, like you can't move down the parkway, like it's impossible.
Yep.
But now I'm like, oh my God, it's the Labor Day, thank God. But schools are back in session. You trade one for another, but at least I'm like, okay, I can go places, or I like that it's flexible,
Right.
that you can actually go in and change it. Same thing with I'm seeing people chime in about the availability. Like if I have a doctor's appointment on Thursday, I just unclick Thursday and then I won't receive orders on Thursday, which to me, that's like a huge win based off of our flexibility of our schedules.
Yeah, and that's the pure joy of being an independent contractor, is right, working when you want and how you want. So having that availability there is huge. And like while it is a great benefit to the drivers, it's a big benefit to us. Like sending an order and calling an API and look at locations and waiting for declines, it's a lot of work on our system. So if we can optimize that and make it better, it's a win-win for both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. And Becky, I agree. It was a game changer. It was such a game changer. I actually did a tutorial this past week teaching drivers how to get into their portal step by step so they knew exactly how to do it, because I feel so strongly that every driver should be doing it at this point because it makes your experience on Delivered app like that much better. Okay, so Thomas question: does the size of my car going to stop me from getting the biggest orders?
Yeah, I mean, and there's some order, like when we get really big orders, we call them like jumbos, SUVs or vans. Unless the client wants to split the order, then it decreases its tag size, and like a sedan could work. But the idea of using vehicle data would be so we don't give a $2,000 order to somebody that's driving a two-door convertible. So, yeah, why we do look at that, 80% of our orders likely fit in a regular sedan. So it could affect you from getting those like big bangers, but you're still getting access to majority of the orders on the platform.
So speaking of that, so now previous we would just text Delivered saying we have pictures of our bags or stuff like that. So I know the portal, you can now upload your bags, which is also fantastic. You no longer have to text it, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
And then
Even, carts and bags. And a new thing coming is pizza bags. Like a lot of new clients want pizza bags. So if drivers have those, they can upload pictures of that. That gets access to more orders.
Okay, so sorry, the questions are coming in.
Derailed.
They're rapid firing now. How do I get multiple orders a day? I've never been offered more than one.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors that go into that. One, to get multiple orders in a day, you have to have completed multiple orders in the platform. So I like the magic number is kind of 10. If you haven't taken 10 orders, you're not going to have, I don't want to call it the best experience, but the most bang for your buck experience, because before we start assigning multiple orders, we need to establish a pattern of reliability. And, it wouldn't be fair to count if you're on time with only 2 orders, because if you were late once and on time the other, you're now late 50% of the time, which looks bad. So, the more orders you can take there, the better. And then just volume, right? Like, again, nobody orders from us. So if there's only 10 orders that day in that market, you might not see multiple orders. So, it's very hard to generalize why one driver might not see that, but the average is 2.2 orders per day per driver system wide. So
does texting available actually do anything?
Yeah, texting available lets our auto assigner, which is affectionately dubbed Frederick, lets Frederick know to assign orders to that driver profile. So it doesn't do anything in the sense of giving you orders that you wouldn't be qualified for. So if you did have that 2-door convertible and it was a $2,000 order, texting available isn't going to get you access to that order. But if the orders in the area that you deliver in or in your market, you match for the tags and the size of the order, then that puts you kind of at the top of the queue. Again, because for us, if we know you're available, it's much easier for us to send you the order than send it to 10 other people who we don't know if they're available, and they're either going to let it time out or decline it. So it kind of moves you to the top there. Texting available multiple times in one day does nothing, but letting us know the day before that available does put you in a queue for the next day's assignments.
Okay, so I completely just learned something new. So I'm supposed to text available every day? Is that what I'm supposed to do?
You can, yeah, to the short code, to the 58973.
Yeah.
You can text available to that, and that lets us know to offer you jobs. So it's kind of it was our hack for before the driver portal with setting what days you're available and stuff. So right now it still does something. Will it do something forever? I don't know, because you'll be able to tell us when you're available. So this was just the way to do it before we built something.
I know the number, but can you say the number they're supposed to text that one more time?
58973. So, and while we're there's 2 numbers that are really important to us. There's that's our notification number. It's not monitored by a human, just Frederick. So it only does certain things. That's where those confirmation texts come from, things like that. And then we have our support line, which is our 800 number. And that's what you call or text to get help with your account or, with an active order.
That's awesome. Okay. So, Becky, are there specific situations or times it's best to check the open order board? Do orders that come in after a certain time not get sent out to drivers, or do they go to the board until the morning?
Yeah, that's a great question, Becky. And again, I'll give you a long answer because I'm not good at not over explaining things. Yes, anything after 10 p.m., I believe, we don't text out anymore local time because we don't want to be annoying you if you're trying to sleep, right? So you'll see orders that come in late night for the next day show up on the open order board to go in and claim. So that way we're not bothering people. Orders will appear there mostly throughout the day. Once an order's been passed around and it hits a certain amount of assignments, and that varies by market, it'll show in that open order board. So realistically, it could be any time. Later afternoon, early evening is probably the most likely time to see orders in there, and then anything overnight. I keep talking about the new app. In the new app, you do have an option to say, I don't care, text me anytime. So if an order comes in at 2 a.m. that matches your criteria, it could text you then, but you have the option to turn that setting on or off.
I'm like, whoa there, Nelly, 2 a.m. Actually, it might be still up.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so next question is, will the company give more weight pay from Delivered?
Yeah, no, right now weight pay calculates out to $15 an hour. So if you waited there for an hour, you would get $15. So compare that to states minimum wage outside of California, or some other states. That's pretty good. Fun fact, most of our clients don't pay wait time. That's something that comes out of our pocket, just because it's the right thing to do.
That's
So
awesome.
I don't know that it will change. I will never say that nothing will ever change, because I am in a constant state of change. But right now it's pretty set at what it is, and never say never. But
I think we already did this, but I'll put this up here anyway. But we already talked about the wait list. I'm sorry, where'd it go? I've been on the wait list for 2 years. What's going to happen with the people that've been on the wait list for so long?
the goal is to get you on the platform. We're Q4 is coming. It's kind of the busiest time, so we might see some wait list open up. I never make guarantees, the same as I never say never. So hopefully we get on there. And I will be honest, the one thing we could do better with is for the people on the wait list, keeping in communication, like, hey, we know you're there. We're so sorry. Insert some kind of food pun or joke in the message. So that's something I really want to work on too. Like, we didn't forget about you. It's just, you will appreciate the wait list once you get on the platform. Being on the wait list, it sucks. But once you get on, then you get to reap the benefits. Same thing as being Emerald. It's hard to get there, but once you get it, it's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Where was it? Gigwise. Is there a way to stop a restaurant from opting to self-deploy after an order has been assigned to a driver, because Smash Burgers keeps doing that?
Yeah, no, really, the restaurants kind of, hold all the power per se. So we have very little say in what they do or how they do it. It's super annoying to us as well. We talk with the restaurants like, hey, this is the best way for you to get the best drivers. And one of those is, don't toy with the drivers, right? Don't create an order and then cancel it, because then a driver is going to see it and they're going to be like, they're just going to cancel it anyway. Why would I want to take it? So we do have account reps that share that feedback with the brands that we work with. But at the end of the day, sometimes it's like talking to a wall.
Now, I get this question all the time, and I know what my response would be, but I'm going to ask you anyway. So, a lot of times people care. Obviously, we care about the money we make and the tips that are coming through. And I get questions all the time about tips, and does it come from, obviously it comes from the customers, but does ezCater set the tip amount in how much they suggest to the customer, just kind of like DoorDash does? How does the tipping actually work with catering?
Yeah, so it all varies by platforms, and it all varies by brands and how they handle it. The one thing we always encourage brands is, give a recommended tip. It takes an unconscious effort to just click continue, and it was at a 0 tip or a low tip, because that's just the way the brand had the checkout experience set up. And it's a conscious effort if you set a 10% tip and you go in and say, I'm not giving a tip, and you change it to a lower amount. So I think a lot of the no and low tips are just, it's not the customers not wanting to do it. It's just that the technology isn't presenting it in the right way. So different brands do it different ways, and even on platforms like ezCater, the way that it works for Smash Burger, for instance, isn't the way it works for, Qdoba. They all have different settings through their checkout on what they want to recommend or how they want to pay it. So it's very complicated. But I know one thing that's super important to most of the brands that we work with is customer education on why tipping is important.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll go to this, and I'll go to, because I'm going to expand on one of these comments. But why do tips increase the morning of the order? Not that I'm complaining.
It could just be coincidence. There's some orders, if they get passed around, with brands have incentives, so the incentive could be applied. You wouldn't see that in the tip. You would see it in an incentive field on the order. So that would be there. So you could see the total earning rise. And then, I guess on relish orders. So ezCater has a product called Relish. So when we send out a relish order, we don't know how much food the client is going to order until the morning of the order. So what happens is, let's say, customer A gets a relish order every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it's coming from Shake Shack. And they know that order is coming from Shake Shack to customer A, but they don't know what anybody ordered until the cutoff time at like 9 a.m. that day. So we present the order at the minimum earning because we don't know how much food it's going to be or what the customer is going to tip. And then the morning of, when that final head count comes in and it goes from, we have no idea what the earning is going to be, to a $400 order with a $40 tip, then that's when that gets updated in the driver app. So that's the largest reason that you see them change. Because for us, if they said it was going to be a $40 tip and it was really a $30 tip, we don't back down tips. Like, we don't take tips away because we consider that like tip baiting. So we show the lowest earning, and then the morning of, you see that order actually update when all the employees ordered their food.
Yeah, I have a merchant that does that with me. Like, an order I get standing almost every week, happens almost every time. So like, whenever I see the name come in, I'm like, okay, I'm going to take it, because I know by now like their patterns and what I think it's going to be. So I definitely have one of those in my market as well.
Yeah, and we're working on some new stuff with that relish team on like better prediction to hopefully better present the orders with a more accurate earning, because it sucks for us. Like, we're putting these jobs out at the lowest tier of earning. So people are probably like, I don't want that. I don't want that. But 96% of those orders increase in earning. So like, it will be better the next day. So if we could present it with a higher earning earlier, that it only works out for everybody else, or everybody altogether.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back to the comment because I wanted to explain it. So I can't find it. Support. I say all the time, you guys have the best support out of every app. I have 17 apps at this point. You guys have the best support that I can. I'm like, clap. So I'm going to say how is your support so fantastic versus like, it's a night and day comparison you to like food delivery versus the support you get with Dlivrd.
Yeah. And our biggest goal, and something I randomly said on a podcast once and like took to heart, was like, automate what we can so we can humanize what's important. And helping drivers during a delivery is what's important. Giving, that human piece there. And that's something we really, really focus on. And it's really about like experience. Like, in the office, we call it like the driver's journey. And that's like from the time you apply to the time you get paid and how you move through that. So we put a lot of focus on that. And then we work on the order journey. And it's the time from the order comes into our system until it's delivered, and every piece that it touches, from the driver to the integration partner, to the end customer that's receiving the food. So, we do a lot of that. And plus, we have a lot of really talented people. So most of our call center is handled in Colombia, right? And I know there's a negative connotation when it comes to outsourced call centers, but these people are amazing. They have master's degrees and bachelor's degrees, and they're really, really smart, and they're super nice. And we don't do normal call center stuff where they're just contractors in the Philippines. These workers down there are employees. We have a co-working space that we built that they work in. So we work really hard to build an environment so they want to provide that, that good customer service. Will they mess up on a word here and there? Yeah. But do they genuinely care if you make the money you want to make, and if they can help you the best that they can? Absolutely.
Thank you, Adam. He just updated his driver profile. That's awesome.
Yes. One more done.
One more done. Check it off the list.
79% now.
Score. I didn't actually even know that you were outsourced to Colombia, but that's actually really awesome. I have to tell you, having a text feature that I can literally just be on my phone and just text, hey, this is my problem, and someone actually responds right away. To me, it's just an amazing concept that no one has mastered yet whatsoever.
Yeah. And at peak, like on a Wednesday during the busy season, we'll handle on like a Wednesday 2,000 phone calls and probably close to 20,000 text messages.
Really?
So that's kind of an idea when someone's like, I had to wait 5 minutes, and it's like, there's 20,000 text messages today. Like, and we prioritize things. Active orders get moved in front of like, I need help resetting my password. And like, there's certain ways that we help get through the list quick, but we get a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I'll be honest, I'm even more impressed now because when I say, like, I get a response, I'm not going to say immediately, but within minutes, and having that type of volume come in, like, to me, that's incredible.
Yeah. And it's one thing, it's, that human piece will always be there. Like we did make a recent change just because of that high volume. Calling is only available during active orders. So 2 hours before your order to like an hour after your order, you can call. The rest is SMS based or scheduling appointments to talk with somebody from like the driver team to try and keep those call times, down and be able to get to people quicker as possible. But most people text about things, so we really didn't see like a huge impact on operation standards by changing that around because we were so tech centric anyway. I mean, 20,000 versus 2,000.
That's amazing. And thank you, Thomas. Chris CEO is the coolest CEO, a real pro. That's amazing. Thank you, Thomas. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have any inside scoop for this crew? Do you have anything new or what's the future of Dlivrd looking like?
Yeah, I mean, the future of Dlivrd, we're just looking at expanding partnerships, working with brands, right? Like when you do a delivery, and like if they ask, like, listen for questions, how do they give us more orders, or if they're having trouble with this or that, you should reach out to Dlivrd. We're out there, we're doing it. We have a lot of new integrations coming before the end of the year, maybe the beginning of the year. Technology development always goes slower than you think. A lot of brands coming on board, like 60, 70 location brands that do a lot of catering. So, we're working on a lot of things there. We're working on ways outside of just getting new brands to sign up. We're working with existing brands. We have a catering calendar with some marketing tools to help brands know when to advertise to clients so they can get more orders, so we can give drivers more orders. And then the biggest thing really is our pending new app launch. So by October 1st, we'll be on the new Dlivrd app nationwide is the goal. So you'll have that driver portal. You'll have all those settings, the new features. I know there's been some screenshots on the Facebook groups. So, you'll get access to all that has and everything that it can be. And we can only get better from there. We have like parking data coming, so you can see at the delivery locations where is the best place to park and all kinds of cool tech stuff that's to make that delivery journey easier and better.
That's amazing. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. It's been so much work putting this new app together, and it's been like a year, but the goal is to have something that really works. And there's probably 25, 30-ish drivers using the app now, providing feedback from that Emerald Elite group. And the things that they tell us, we're actively making those changes in the app. Like if it's a good idea and if it's something we can do, because I know what I think it should do, but I don't deliver every day. The people using this app do. So I'm hoping that everybody appreciates how good it looks and what it does, because it was really cultivated by, Dlivrd drivers.
That's awesome. Okay. So gig-wise, multi-level tier plan? Question mark?
Like multi-level marketing?
Like emeralds? Is that what you mean? Like the tiers emeralds, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that earlier. Our goal is to have, we'll have 3 tiers, and we're hoping to get that announced soon. I don't know if he's thinking like, selling Mary Kay products, like that multi-level marketing thing.
Very cool.
We're not going to do that.
So I know there's a lot of New Jersey drivers in here, and you did a meetup in New Jersey. I believe it was like last year, and I actually have it. Somebody asked the question, so I have it down on my pad. Are you guys coming back for another meetup in New Jersey or the surrounding area anytime soon? That was one of the questions.
I know we have something planned in New York in October. I don't know like where in New York, probably like somewhere Manhattan, like Manhattan-y, I would assume. Yeah, we're always looking at ways to engage with drivers. We actually have a team that has a real focus on that. So we're working on like city takeovers, like driver drop-ins, open happy hours to meet with team members, to do marketing, to get new restaurants, plus the engagement events that we do at like Dave and Buster's or axe throwing or, Top Golf. We always kind of mix it up and invite drivers and their families in. So the best way to find out about that is like watch for the emails, that come out from us, and then also watch our social media channels when we announce those.
Okay, so does Dlivrd reimburse tolls? I often get orders to go to New York, but I don't want to incur the bridge tunnel fees.
Yeah, so we reimburse tolls from pickup to delivery. So if you need, because we don't know where you are when between where the order is and like your current location. So if there's between the pickup and delivery, we reimburse 100% of the toll. But getting to the pickup, that would be, that would come out of your pocket.
So Josh is closer to the Philly area, and obviously I'm New Jersey. He says, ask Chris when he's going to pick us up in the Cybertruck.
Getting that thing was like a blessing and a curse. It's probably the most extravagant thing I've ever bought myself. And like people stop and like they take pictures with it, want to see it. Little kids, video driving down the road. But yeah, come by the office, Josh. You can come. We'll go for a spin around the block.
Okay, I actually might take you up on that.
Yeah, if you're local, schedule something up. We have a driver that'll be in the office tomorrow because we have lunch catered on Wednesdays, and one of our partners, and it's on the Dlivrd app, and the Dlivrd driver is picking up the order and bringing it to the office. They're Emerald Elite, so
that's really fun. I loved it when you changed the car green. I didn't even know it could do that.
It's magic.
It's magic. That's actually really cool. Yeah. So Brian went to the Dave and Buster's. He thinks it was on February. So
yeah, and it's a great time, and it's really fun. I've done a few of them. I did one in Indianapolis. I did one in Florida. It's so nice to like get to meet and talk with the drivers because like while being the CEO of the company is important, right? Like I do some things that matter. The drivers, like without drivers, there would be no Dlivrd, there would be no app. So I love being able to get out there. I love that my team gets to go out there and connect with everybody and meet them and say hello and meet their family and play games and eat together. Like, because it's something that other apps don't do, right? Like you'll never go to one of the big three and meet somebody. So it's important to me.
So, Bud Soda, can I get someone to call my phone? How would I go about that? I couldn't get Google Meet to work even when I sent the link. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, so when we schedule the appointments, they go through Google Meet.
Got it.
Maybe email me, budsoda, chris@dlivrd.io, and I'll make sure that I get you over to somebody that can give you a ring.
Very cool. So any other questions? I will try to get a whole bunch of questions if I get anything after tonight's live. So this is going to be available on podcast tomorrow on all major podcasts. So you guys can listen to it again tomorrow. It'll be released at 9 a.m. But any questions I have, I'll compile and then I'll send them over as well. Because I know I probably missed a lot of questions in between. I was trying to get to as many questions as I possibly can. But I will try to get them over as well. So I'm excited for the future. I hope you guys, keep growing, keep expanding. This new app seems pretty amazing. So I'm really excited to see the new app come to life.
Yeah, me too. I can't even tell you how excited I am for it. Like it's going to be awesome. So, and same thing, keep your eye out on social media and out on like the emails on like when it pops in like the app stores and stuff. So yeah, really, really excited for its rollout.
Very cool. So I have in the description of this live, I have the link to Dlivrd. If you guys don't know what Dlivrd, and hopefully you found out what Dlivrd is now, the link to Dlivrd and to sign up is in the description. Also, the link to the driver portal is in the description of this live as well, guys. If you haven't gone to do it, go do your driver portal. I promise it will blow your mind and it'll make your experience even that much better. Not that it isn't right now.
No, I love it. Let's get that driver portal loaded up.
Very cool. So, I'm going to leave you with the last words. Any parting messages you want to leave for the crew? Anything you want to, last minute things you want to say about Delivered?
No, no. Like I said, I mean, the biggest part of the platform is the drivers, and I appreciate everybody who tuned in today. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things you could have been doing at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time that didn't involve me talking about Delivrd. Running the company is not something I take lightly because it impacts tens of thousands of drivers, and we have about 100 full-time employees between 4 continents. So, every little thing that I do, the wait list, the new app, all that stuff is all to make sure that everybody gets money and can pay their bills, and the restaurants get access to a great fleet of drivers that can deliver these high value earning opportunities. So the biggest thing we focus on is that extraordinary experience. So I'll leave it with that. The difference between an ordinary experience and an extraordinary experience is just that little bit extra. So setting up that order, just being kind and courteous on a delivery I did last week. We have to do a delivery every quarter, every employee. There was a driver coming in and he was delivering his own order and he didn't have a card and he was struggling with his boxes. I helped him bring those other boxes upstairs because he was running late and the customer had mentioned it. So I didn't have to, but it was just that little bit extra. So we really focus on that internally. If everybody on the street does that, then it'll just be that much easier to get more orders and get more clients. So extraordinary.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I know your time is super valuable, and I really appreciate you coming on and spending time with us today. I got a lot out of it. I know I learned even a couple of new things that I didn't learn before. So hopefully everybody else did too. So thank you so much again for being on tonight.
Of course, Kim, thanks so much for having me.
Okay. Okay, you guys. Chris, stay on just for 1 second. I just want to ask you one question. So, everyone, have a good night. I know everybody's like, the debate, the debate. Yes, I'm going. Okay, everybody, have a good night. I'll see you guys in the next live or the next video. Bye, everyone.